What's up, everybody? How is everybody doing? Are we liking the new light? Is it good? I have the blinds closed. I don't know. Does this make it better? Is it better with the blinds open? Like, is this better? Or is that better with the blinds open? You guys let me know. So, oh, sorry. My bad. All right, guys. So I'm sorry I'm streaming during the two big playoff games here, but my day just got super busy. And I wanted to make sure I still got a stream out because I didn't stream on Wednesday. And instead, on Wednesday, we just did the quick market update. So we had obviously just some crazy price action over the last few days, or the last kind of month, really, that we've tracked. But now, the last couple of days, right, last few daily candles, we're just kind of going sideways, right? So we haven't really pumped beyond that initial 105 push, which happened all the way back on May 8th, right? So we pushed up to there on May 8th. Next day, we put in a high on Saturday. So that's a week ago tomorrow. And now we're just kind of going sideways, right? So the question is, what happens from here? We've had alts absolutely crushing for a while now, right? We've had a bunch of altcoins go bonkers. Like Bitcoin went up 40%, right? So if your altcoin didn't go up at least 40% in the last month, you're probably holding some shitty altcoins, right? So Bitcoin's gone up a ton. Now, the question you have to ask yourself is, what happens here? What happens from here? So we've discussed kind of some potential pullback scenarios. I'm going to go over those again because I do believe that we're due for a bit of a correction in stocks, which I think increases the likelihood that we're going to get that pullback in crypto. So does that mean you need to sell everything and run for the hills? Not necessarily, but if you missed, this or even all of this, right? Well, great. If we get some sort of little correction on Bitcoin, some of these alts are going to put in double-digit down moves. Some of them are already off of the high pretty significantly. So what we want to do is find alts that we like, find alts that we think can continue to be strong. If Bitcoin's going to continue, let's assume that Bitcoin does this. We want to find the alts when Bitcoin does this that we think are going to be strong outperformers. And those are the ones that we want to look to bid. So I'll quickly go over my thought process on Bitcoin, on Ethereum, SOL, and then the equities market. And then we can start looking at altcoins that you guys want to see. And I'll tell you where I would bid if I was going to bid those altcoins. Does that sound like a good plan? What's up, Burnside? Crewy says, I want to learn, when does Monday's range no longer apply, on the next Monday or before? It's just a range. It's just the range of a daily candle. So in theory, you can use it as many Mondays in a row as you want. But ideally, the purpose of Monday's range is to find a trade for that week. So I'll actually go into a bit of a rant about Monday's range because this week was a perfect example of the Monday's range strategy. What's up, HH? How you doing, man? Gene, hello. Prototype, Ganek, G. I'm glad you're liking it, Burnside. The Haven is fucking goated. Nigma, what's up, bro? GZGvo, how do you find plays on the daily? You just got to scroll through your watch list, bro. Set up your watch list and just click through those coins. Look for setups. Not much to it. What's up, Mez? Calvin, how you doing? Thank you, memes. What's up? Dog Boy, Sebi, Chillate, Mr. H, Tony. Do you have any video explaining how to determine bias? Yeah, if you go through my education section, I have a video called like everything you need to know about price action or something like that. That's a pretty good one to help you with bias. Your 9-year-old says the second one get better. Okay. What's up, Maine? Watching from my wife's boyfriend setup. I'm your wife's boyfriend, bro. What are you talking about? You're not in my office. Zach, what's up? Married Maine indeed. Y'all know the vibes. What's up? ACLGCR. Much love from Korea. Dude, I've been to Seoul. Lovely city you guys got there. All right, so let's start with, what do you guys want to start with? You want to start with the analysis, or do you want me to go over why Monday's range worked really well this week and give you some more context on that? You guys tell me. Kieran, I know that is an issue. It's something we're hoping to fix sooner than later. An order block on stream. We can get order block on stream a little later. Okay, so I'll do the Monday's range thing real quick because I gave you guys a setup this week on Monday's range. I gave you guys a setup this week. I don't know if you took it, but I gave it to y'all. So let's go here. Okay, and if you remember, we had a bunch of different charts, right, where I showed you Monday's range. And what did I say here? This is on Monday. Monday's range across the board. Mark them out, right? Mark out your Monday's ranges. I did it for you. I gave you Solana. That's the one I actually took. So the idea of Monday's range, okay? So you have your Monday high. You have your Monday low, okay? The idea here is we're trying to find the low or the high of the week. That's the goal. We want to find the low or the high of the week. And I've told you guys this in the past. I said there's a very high chance that the high or low of the week forms on Tuesday or Wednesday. Not every week, but there's a very strong chance, greater than 50% of the time, the high or low of the week will form on on Tuesday or Wednesday. So why would that be beneficial? Well, let's assume that the high of the week is going to form on a Tuesday. We don't know this yet, but this is what the weekly candle is going to do this. It's going to go up, then it's going to close like this. Okay? High of the week is going to be on Tuesday. If we think that this is how the weekly candle is going to play out, and price does this, it opens the week, it trades up here on Monday, then it trades down here, boom, this is Monday, and then on Tuesday, it does this and this. If we believe that this is the high of the week, if I'm shorting above Monday's high and then on the break back inside, and we're correct about our prediction that the week is going to be bearish, guess what? We just caught the entire down move for the entire week on a Tuesday. We caught the entire basically body of the weekly candle, and we caught the high of the week. Traded above Monday's high and then back within on Tuesday. Good chance the high of the week might beat in. So did that work this week? You bet your ass it did. So let's go ahead and look through some examples. Here is Bitcoin. Bad example. It didn't happen on Bitcoin. Ethereum. Where was the high of the week? Tuesday. There's your Tuesday high of the week. Hot. No, that's not how you spell high of the week. How? Tuesday, high of the week. Monday's range trade. It still hasn't played out, but this looks like it might now trade down to Monday's low if it breaks down here. Solana. Tuesday, high of the week. Broke back within. Breaking structure, retest. Breaking structure, retest. Breaking structure, retest, all the way to Monday's low. You caught the entire down move for the entire week just using Monday's range, right? This happened on a Monday's low. You caught the entire pairs, okay? A ton of pairs. We can go look at Fartcoin. Hard to see, but just peaked above. You can barely see it there. It just peaked above Monday's high here. On what day? On Tuesday. You caught the entire down week by shorting the Monday's high play. This one didn't go over. Some of these didn't make it over Monday's high, but they still topped out on the high of the week. There you go. Beam. Tuesday, high of the week. Traded back within Monday's range. You close. You short when it closes back in. You target Monday's low. Right? Sui didn't make it. Ondo. This one made a high of the week on Wednesday. Traded back down to Monday's low. Hype did not make a high of the week on Wednesday. Hype was actually, I think, the opposite. Hype put in its low of the week on Tuesday. AVAX, not quite. ENS, ENA, another one. High of the week on Tuesday. Traded all the way back down. So whenever people ask me, why do you use Monday's range? This is why. If my belief is that we're going to have a down week for whatever reason, if I can short on a failure above Monday's high, there's a pretty good probability that I've caught the high of the week. Not always, okay? But usually you're going to get a trade out of it. You're usually going to get at least one trade out of it, whether it be on Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, or one of the thousands of fucking altcoins that exist. This is like bread and butter this week. Tuesday, high of the week. Fwog didn't make it. I know Aptos was a good one. Tuesday, high of the week. So do you understand what I'm saying? This weekly candle went like this, okay? Traded down. Then it traded back up. Then it traded down again. And it's going to close the week like this. This is how the weekly candle is going to look on Aptos. And by using Monday's range, you got short up there. Pretty fucking good, right? So that's why I use Monday's range. And it works extremely well. And if you followed me on Twitter, you would know that I got tagged probably 20 times from people just posting their P&L cards on Breakout, on whatever exchange they're using, saying, dude, I've been using this Monday's range trade strategy and it just is printing for me. This is why it works. So hopefully this added a little extra color and context for you guys as to why Monday's range is really good. And it's something that you should be looking for. So someone asked me, how do you look for trades every week? One of the things I do on Monday is I go through, I mark out Monday's range. I use the Spaceman indicator, right? And I just flip through. I flip through and I just say, hey, is this thing printing on any of these pairs? It's as simple as that. So over and over and over and over again, you're going to be able to find these setups. And it's not just crypto. We had the dollar rally this week, right? So the dollar kind of reclaimed that old range and it went up. So where was maybe the low of the week? If the dollar's going up, where would the high of the week potentially form on something like EU? Look at that. High of the week on Wednesday. Traded back within Monday's range. GBP USD, high of the week on Wednesday. Low of the week, potentially. Not quite. Canadian dollar. Yeah, low of the week on Wednesday. This one didn't get outside of Monday's range, but that's okay. So this works on everything, right? It works on everything. And you can use it on everything. Low of the week on silver on Wednesday. So I think it's something that if you're looking for an easy mechanical strategy that you can replicate just to start getting some trades going, the Monday's range strategy is a very good one. So I have a YouTube video on it. I've talked about it on a bunch of streams. So just make sure you're giving it a fair shake and trying it out, okay? All right, so let's talk about where we are on Bitcoin and then some other coins, and then we'll go into the altcoins. So we're still looking okay on the higher time frames, right? We've got this, I'm going to get rid of these now. They're useless. We've got this high time frame potential SR flip here. So as soon as we made this move up, and then we took out the prior week's high, to me, that means that there's a good chance that we're at least going to trade back within some of this prior weekly candle. It doesn't mean that we're going to retrace the entire candle, but there's a good chance we're going to trade back within some of the candle. And so when we took out that prior week's high, we put in an H12 sweep, and I just posted this on Twitter. I said, hey, sweep here. Maybe we get a pullback now down to here. Oh, Maine's coping. He's coping. Again, I talked about this in Wednesday's video. Anyone who doesn't want a pullback here to longed over the last 10 days. Anyone who longed like we did and were bullish here, if you're bullish from here, even from here, any sort of pullback here is just an opportunity for you to get into new trades, not chase price. Buy on a discount, right? There's your range. Here's your discount. That's all it is. And I think a lot of people are showing their hand in terms of how they're positioned based on the fact that everyone needs everything to go up from here because they got long on the tail end of a 40% move with no real pullback. Like this wasn't even a pullback. It was just reaccumulation. So even a shallow pullback to here, I think is a great buying opportunity. I don't know why people are freaking out oh, this is bearish and this looks fucking bad. To me, a pullback down to here, altcoins go down a bunch. Anything that was super strong out of the bottom, you're going to have an opportunity to buy the higher low. So I'm looking forward to it. I view everything as opportunity. And this is where I want you guys to get as well with your trading. I don't want you to look at things as, you're going to be a bull, you're going to be a bear. That's fine. But what I don't want you to do is get stuck in this kind of mindset where you're always chasing oh, it's got to go up, it's got to go down. And a move up, maybe it's a short opportunity. Maybe it's a confirmation. If we move up here and we get a really strong close through the old highs, bro, fucking buy everything. Buy every dip and target way higher. If we get a move up and then we do this, okay, well, maybe that's an opportunity for me to short, to de-risk. If we move down, okay, we're coming into demand. We're in an uptrend here. I'm going to look to long. It's all opportunity. You have to change the way that you frame things and try and get out of the crypto Twitter only can go up, only can go down, perma bear, perma bull mentality. Forget that. Try and eliminate that from your mind and realize we're here to make money and all we need is price to give us a chance to do so. And right now, this is not super tradable, but if it comes down here, it becomes very tradable. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? So I'm not bearish. I'm not bullish. Of course I have biases, but all I'm doing every day when I open up the charts is I'm saying, is price at a level where I'm interested in taking a trade? There might be a trade on the hourly chart here. Maybe this is a sweep and we get some sort of bounce. And you can say, oh, Maine, well, there was a long there and you were bearish hoping for lower. No, I'm not looking to take a trade on the hourly. I'm looking at the 12-hour. And I'm saying, okay, I'm leaning towards a move down to at least here. And if we come there, I'm going to look for a trade. If we don't, I need to find the next area of interest for me. Okay, done. Bitcoin's done. What's ETH? Okay, we've got the higher high on ETH. It looks stronger than Bitcoin. We've got some untested demand here with some clear lows that could get hunted. If we come down here, I might look to long Ethereum. Plan done. Set my alerts. I'm out of here. On to the next. Solana. We broke up. We're kind of pulling back. I see, okay, maybe if we sweep out this low, I might be interested in longing. If not, we've got a fair value gap here, confluent with this old SR level. I'll look there. Done. Set alerts. On to the next. That's all I'm doing. I have my high time frame on. I'm going through the charts, and I'm marking out areas where I want to look for trades. I want to look for trades. The problem that we have with crypto Twitter is people aren't able to differentiate between someone who is actively trading the market like we are and people who are just straight up holding and hoping and praying that price goes up. Because those are two completely different things. Really, there's three buckets, right? I feel like I got to watch my language, bro. So I was at my wedding, and in my dad's wedding speech, he said that I'm single-handedly in my streams trying to bring back the words gay and retard. And then I called someone a retard on TikTok, and I got like a fucking strike. It's not cool, man. Anyways. There's three buckets here, okay? There's the trader bucket. There is the investor bucket. And then there's what I call the retard bucket. So who goes in all of these buckets, okay? My tweets, my posts are in the trader bucket. I'm actively longing and shorting depending on what the market is doing, okay? I'm looking for opportunities in a single day, in a single week, in a single month, right? I'm actively trading. So what might this be? It might be short term, longs and shorts, okay? There's going to be people who are actively looking for day trades, really. You can swing trade, you can position trade, but these guys here, your bias is fluid, okay? And it's a lower time frame bias. Who's in the investor bucket? The investor bucket is someone who might just be buying Bitcoin and they're bullish on it and they're thinking about years and decades. They're like, I bought Bitcoin at 50K and I'm selling it at $1 million. So this is like long ass term guys. Okay. They're long term. They're not using the low time frame charts, high time frame charts only. Okay. They are thinking in years and decades. Right? Then who goes in the retard bucket? Anyone who is mean to me, all of my haters. Main's haters, all of them are here. Anyone who says up or down, bro. Anyone who says something that and misinterprets what I'm saying. Anyone who's mean to me in general, retard bucket. That's where they live, okay? But these are people who are hoping. Perma-bull, perma-bear. So they're perma-bullish, perma-bearish. They don't have the ability to be objective. They're emotional. Okay? They're crybabies. They have tiny penises, tiny wiener. Very small wiener, like this big. Okay? Micro penises. So I want you guys to be in these two buckets, and you can be in both at the same time. I don't want you to be in this bucket. Don't want to be in the retard bucket, okay? Hoping and coping, exactly. Hoping and coping. And so the reason these people are retarded is because they have the inability to look at things objectively. Everything they're doing is based on emotion because they can only make money if the chart goes up. That means you're retarded, right? You can only make money if the chart goes up. Even if the chart is telling you it wants to go down, you can only make money if it goes up. So these are the people that you don't want to be in. You want to be in the trader bucket. You want to be in the investor bucket. I have no problem with you being a perma bull on Bitcoin on the high time frame. I am. I absolutely am. Right? But what I'm not is I'm not someone who is unable to look at things objectively and say, okay, well, I think there might be a pullback. And that's where my trader hat comes on. I'm looking for short-term opportunities. So that's all this is. So when people are like, oh, dude, Maine wants a pullback, he must be bearish. First of all, they're in the retard bucket. But second of all, I'm just thinking on the out of the mindset of a trader. Me thinking that price might pull back here does not mean I think we're going into a bear market. It doesn't mean I think that we're going to zero and I've sold all of my crypto. You know what I mean? It simply means that I think there might be a pullback and I'm looking for a trading opportunity. Okay? So I'm focused right now on looking for potential areas to pull back. Bitcoin, we never, as much as people were like, oh my God, Maine's bearish, he's coping, we've still not broken above this high. We still have not broken above that high. So I think bears have a super easy invalidation. And when I say bears, I'm talking about people who might be short right now from a trading point of view. If we get back above here, we're probably going to all-time high and probably significantly higher. But until then, the bears had an easy opportunity to short. This is an H12, H1 short right here. So if I throw on this, right? We swept out the low, the high, excuse me. We broke structure, and then we retested the breaker. There's your breaker. So we're still just respecting this zone. And if we pull back here, it's not that surprising. You had a super clear invalidation right there. Okay? So that's all I'm watching. I'm saying, okay, as long as we're below here, I think there's a good chance we trade down to here. And then we see. And then we look for the new opportunity. But with altcoins being the way that they are, which is generally weak right now, like, yeah, Bitcoin dominance pulled back a little, but it's now trading back up. If Bitcoin pulls back even just lightly, like let's just say it pulls back to 99K. It's only like $4,000 lower than here. It's like a 3.5% pullback. Some of these altcoins are going to die. Where's the evidence of that? Well, Bitcoin right now is down 3% from the high. Fartcoin, which is one of the strongest coins of the last 2 months, in the same time frame is down 20%. GOAT, which had a huge rally off the bottom, has already given back 50% of the move. Zerobra, right? Did like a 3x out of the bottom, I think. What's this? 4x out of the bottom, and now it's given back half of the move already. There are some exceptions. Hype, unbelievably strong. But a lot of these coins, which have pumped really hard in the month of April, so BNB went up 33%, but now it's down, 8 or 9%. And this is just getting started on some of these things, right? Like some of these meme coins, like Popcat, April low went up 450%. Now it's given back 35. It doesn't mean it can't still go. I'm just saying if Bitcoin pulls back a little more, maybe we get to long down here. And I want to do that, right? So that's all I'm really doing here is I'm looking for opportunities. I'm saying, okay, Popcat over the last month was really, really strong. So if it gets a significant pullback of this price leg, I want to pay attention. And I want to look to potentially take a long. That's it. I'm not overthinking this. I'm not calling for it to go to new lows necessarily. It might. But I'm just looking for opportunities. And the problem is, and I think the reason there's so much vitriol when I post something like, hey, we might pull back a little, is because there's a lot of people who probably longed Popcat in the last week when they saw the Bonk guy post about it. They longed Fartcoin in the last week, and now it's down 30%. So we want to try and catch these moves. Okay, well, these moves require some correction. So if we had a huge move and then we do this, maybe I'd say, okay, I think if it continues, I'm going to try and long it. So that's all we're doing. We're going through, we're finding coins that we like, and we're seeing if we can find opportunities. I want to see stuff that traded really strong out of the bottom, and I want to look to see if those are going to have a nice bounce, have a nice reaction. But Bitcoin is driving the boat. So if Bitcoin's going to pull back, that to me tells me it's time to go through my altcoin watch list and set alerts at demand levels. So we're just looking at the daily chart. Fartcoin, we're coming up to daily demand right here. A little lower, but there's daily demand below us. Okay, so you could set an alert there. Let's say you really want a long fucking hype, even though it's up a ton. If Bitcoin pulls back, maybe hype comes back and retests into here. Great. Now I can get long for potentially the next leg. Right? It's no different than any of this on Fartcoin. Like all of these levels, we've been tracking Fartcoin since it was 20 cents. And I've drawn out all these levels on stream. SR flip, order block, SR flip. We're just looking for another one. Simple as that. So don't overthink it. Don't allow yourself to get caught up in this like nonstop, we got to go up, we got to go down, bearish, bullish idea. We're just looking for trades. We're just looking for trades. That's all we're doing. Mika says, what low coins, I'm not sure what you mean by that, would you hold long-term instead of trading? The only coin I'm really comfortable holding super long-term is Bitcoin. Because over a long enough time period, basically everything underperforms Bitcoin. Dogboy says, Main, on the H12, would the 12-hour range low be the little swing low, doji candle in the middle of that, or is it the bottom of the impulse? Are you talking about Bitcoin? Like, are you asking if this is the range on Bitcoin, dude? Here's your range low. Oh, actually, hold on. Did that make a new swing high? It did. So technically this is your H12 range right here. Technically speaking, I think probably on something like this, I might go out to the daily, because the daily gives us a much cleaner swing that I think is more representative of where we are, which is from here up to here. There's your daily range. I like that better than the H12 range in this instance. Hopefully that answers your question. Main, would you consider shorting BTC on a pullback to the next support area? If yes, how? So I think the Bitcoin trade is in motion already. Like I posted the SFP. So the retest here, that was your short opportunity. So if you go down to the hourly, right, like this was the short right here on the retest of the breaker, the raid candle there. So maybe you could have shorted earlier today, but we've kind of moved off it. But if you're short bias, right, like the trade, the H12, H1 trade at least is this. And then, you know, down into like 99 into those areas I talked about. Like that's the short trade right now if it's going to roll. We did have a nice little sweep here, and now we've had a structure break, so we might get another pop up and then maybe another leg down. If you're trying to get in a short, you could look for something like that. But I'm not personally short Bitcoin currently, but we had an H4 SFP there. And if we get an H4 structure break here, so if this H4 candle closes below here, then you could short the next pop with your stop up there if you wanted to. But I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know. It's also the weekend. I'm not generally taking trades on the weekend. Hey, Main, what would you do if alts come into this daily demand, but Bitcoin is still at 103K? Would you still long the alts with the possibility of BTC correcting? I mean, Bitcoin is still technically on support, right? Remember, we had that highest monthly close candle, so we're still holding this. So if alts come into demand and Bitcoin is holding here, you can absolutely long them. But if Bitcoin looks weak and it's breaking structure and those alts hit those daily demands, there's a good chance that it might just rip right through them. But as long as Bitcoin is on support, so like we haven't broken down yet, right? So we're still holding this key range low here, highest monthly close. If we start closing below there, then there's a good chance it goes lower, and I wouldn't want to long altcoins until Bitcoin gets to demand. But for now, it hasn't broken down quite yet. And remember, like, Bitcoin can go sideways, right? And alts can go up. What you don't want is Bitcoin to go down. So if Bitcoin just continues to chop, alts can still go up, right? But if Bitcoin is going to roll over, that's when you don't want to be long altcoins right now. Are you holding any SOL, any of the SOL short? I closed the entire thing. That might have been a mistake because it looks like shit, and I shorted the Pico top. But I closed the entire thing on this candle here for 3R. But maybe I should have left some open because it looks like it wants to trade down to 150 right now. What's up, Lath? How you doing, bro? Roy Malka says, Maine, I've been following you for 6 years, and I'm constantly trying to learn and implement new things, but I'm just losing money. You can't figure out the mistake. That's not a very glowing review. That started off, but that started off good. But yeah, I mean, listen, dude, the best way to figure out where the leak is you first have to have the data. Right? So that's so funny. Dude, I've been following you forever and I can't make any money. It's like, Alex. But what you have to do, bro, and I think one of the biggest problems people have, and I talked about this in my last stream about journaling, is like if you're consistently losing money, we've got to identify what you're doing wrong. Are you taking the same types of trades every time? Or for 1 year you were trading one way and then the next year you were trading another way? Like, you've got to get to a point where the system is profitable. But if you're consistently losing money for years and years, you should probably take a step back and say, okay, maybe I'm not prepared and I'm not in a good place to be risking money yet. Maybe you need to be paper trading until you get to a point where you can consistently make money, or at least not lose money. Sorry, one sec. It's hotter than a motherfucker in here. Okay. So, like, again, you've got to figure out where the leak is. You shouldn't be losing money consistently over 6 years if you know what you're doing. So clearly, you're not at a point yet where you are able to consistently trade and make money. Now, I don't know what you're doing. Are you journaling all your trades and consistently taking the same trades and there's just something wrong in your system? Or are you gambling on some meme coins? You're trading some ways. You're just kind of chasing stuff and you're just kind of consistently losing. Because if you would have just bought Bitcoin 6 years ago, right, in 2019 and just done fuck all, but like live your life, you'd probably have a lot more money, don't you think? So maybe you're better off just accumulating spot, investing, and not risking your money trading until you get to a point where you can consistently make money. I don't suggest anyone start trading with their money until they feel like they're at a point where they actually know what they're doing, right? So I would need to know a lot more to understand exactly what your situation is. But if you want to DM me, I'm more than happy to chat with you in the DMs and see if there's something obvious that you're doing wrong, or if maybe it's just a matter of like, hey, we've got to just kind of take a step back and figure out, what you need to be doing. But I definitely wouldn't just continue to throw money at something that's clearly not working. You got to analyze, what have you been doing? Try and work backwards from there. When trading Monday's range, do you let BTC influence your alt trading bias? I mean, yes and no. Like, the trade is the trade, but you definitely want to, like, if Bitcoin is looking super fucking bullish and, you think it's going to rip and an altcoin just did this, like, this might just end up being a retest of Monday's high. You know what I mean? So just because Bitcoin is bullish, it doesn't mean that you can't short an altcoin, but you should pay attention, but don't like let it drive your decision completely. But at the end of the day, no trade occurs in a vacuum. No trade occurs in a vacuum. All trades have some sort of implication, or the effect of that Bitcoin has on all of your trades is undeniable, right? Like, if you're shorting in a Bitcoin uptrend, you're aiming for way less high probability trades, and vice versa. Hype, yeah. I mean, hype we've absolutely crushed over the last handful of streams. Like, we were tracking hype down here, and I said, hey, if it reclaims 17, it's going to 24. And it's now above 24. I think that there's a very good chance it eventually trades up to here. But maybe it's due for a bit of a pullback first, right? But I think it can trade higher. Long as it holds above 24, I think there's a good chance it trades to 31. If it loses 24, right, if this does this and it starts looking gay, then there's a good chance it might go and retest 17 again. But this range has been money. Oh, camera disconnected. Come on, baby. We're back. Can you invest in hype long term? It's one of the coins I like more long term because it has the hype machine behind it. And I don't mean all of the people hyping it up on Twitter. I mean literally that they're buying back the token. What the fuck is going on with the camera here, bro? Something going on with the connection. It's being gay. Holy moly, this thing gets fucking hot. Must be the cable. I'm gonna have to order a new cable, guys. Sorry, but There you go. Hopefully that stays working. Oh, the battery? Oh, I know what it is. Sorry, one sec. How's the battery fucking exhausted though, bro? Like, sorry guys. You son of a bitch. It's not gonna make it. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to do something huge. That's gotta work. Sorry guys, I don't know what's going on. I don't know why it's not charging. Battery exhausted. The battery's just fucking dying? I don't get it. It's plugged in. Alright, I might just have to nix the camera, guys. I'm sorry. I'd just rather get the stream done. I'll deal with that later. Okay. So anyways, whatever I was saying, so there. This guy says black people smoke alarms. I'm sorry you can't see my neck, but I'm still here in spirit. Anyways, I don't know what I was saying, but I'm a boomer, guys. You guys know I'm 67 years old. I am at the ripe age of 72, exactly, and you're expecting me to be able to know how cameras work. It's just not going to make sense. Now you just get to hear the sultry tones of my voice. Everything's less impactful when you don't see the neck, but that's okay. Use another camera. Bro thinks I have more than one camera. I only have one plugged in right now, and I don't really want to deal with all the fucking shit. Anyways, so let's go down to ETH now. So Ethereum has had a huge fucking rally, right? I thought maybe we would have one more leg up. And it's still possible. There's still a chance that we can come up and we can run these highs. But looking at how the current candles have formed, zooming out, we have some pretty clear demand here, or resistance here on ETH. And we've nailed like the move, right? So as you guys know, I posted the bullish ETH BTC chart like down here, and then it went up like 40%. And I even longed ETH. I closed it way too early, but like down here. So if you're looking at this chart, we've caught a massive move, right? There's your low, there's your deviation, there's your reclaim, all the way up to here. So now we've got a pretty like decent looking rejection in the making here once this next 3-day candle closes. And if you look at the weekly chart, you've got a pretty, reversally looking candle. And I'm not saying that this is just going to do this, but I do think that there's a chance that we get some form of pullback. So again, I'm going to keep reiterating myself. I'm looking for areas where that pullback might occur to. So what jumps out to me is this area here on the high time frame. And then on the low time frame, it's this area right here. So based on what Bitcoin does, if it gets a shallow pullback, I might try and long ETH here. Stop down there. Boom. Target, 3,000. New highs. Okay? If we get a really steep correction on Bitcoin, so it goes into the low 90Ks, then I might be looking to long ETH closer to $2,000. But I'm still looking for a low, a high, and some kind of higher low. That's it. So that's kind of the game plan on ETH, either from here or from here. Those are the two areas of interest. If we just fucking sweep this and just grind up here, then great. I'm not in a trade. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes price is going to go up and you're not going to get in a trade. I bought the Sony ZVE1. Apparently it's really, really good. Best to just sit on hands right now. I mean, sure, Gabby, I'll make you a mod. Can I trust you? I've never seen you in the chat before, but I'm trusting you with standard moderating capabilities. Show me your best shot. What do you think the first thing you should do as a mod right now? So again, should you sit on your hands right now? I don't know. It depends what time frame you're looking at. If you're trading Bitcoin on the monthly, I would say, hey, we look like okay here. Like on the monthly chart, I'm just waiting for May's candle close and see how it closes relative to there. Right? So it's all dependent on time frame. But if you're trading Bitcoin on the 5-minute chart, you might say, hey, this might have just put in a bottom. Right? This might have put in a bottom. It took out the low. It's now attempting to break above the high. Maybe I want to take a little scalp long here. Up into here. Like maybe that's the trade you're looking for. So it's all relative to time frame. There's always going to be something going on some coin on some time frame. You're my son and your name's Gabby? What did your parents mean by that? I'm full port CZ's grandfather's dog on AVAX. Am I overexposed? What's his grandfather's dog's name? Okay, so ETH we covered. Let's look at Solana. So yeah, I feel slight regrets looking at this now that I closed my entire short, even though we caught basically the high. We also had this H1 sell was just so pure. We had the Monday's range high. We had a sweep. You had a break in structure, and then you retested the bearish order block here that caused the structure break. And then you had another one with another sweep. Like this was textbook stuff. If you're looking for an application of the H1 M5 strat, so if I pull up this, it should print it here. Let's see. Let's see. We'll do this. We'll do this. And we'll go down to the M5 here. So it should have printed right at the high here. There you go. Get this out of the way. Right? So at the high here, you had your sweep, you had your structure break, there's your entry. And then it had another entry right here. And then, you know, your TP is down there. So that's your H1 M5, right? It just draws it for you. But there's your H1 sweep. You look for the structure break. You mark out the breaker. There's your trade. It's in the description, Smooth. And over and over and over again. So looking at SOL now, kind of in no man's land here on the H12. Like if it sweeps this, then there's probably a long. Otherwise, I would wait for this. But that's on the H12. Maybe there's something on the H4. So on the H4, we're coming in demand. Right? And that lines up with that SFP level there. So maybe we get a nice little sweep here on the H4 after tagging that demand, and all of a sudden, you've got a long setup here that you can take. What are all these fucking scammers, these spammers doing? I don't know what's going on. XAI 64Z coin. I bet you that coin looks like shit. It's not even on TradingView. Let's see. Let's just indulge these fucking scammers and see how their coin looks, because apparently it's the next Bitcoin. XAI 64Z. It's not even on Dex Screener. What is this coin? Payroll for the new world. Oh my God. So, what time frame do I usually use on Monday's range? I generally am using the H1. Prime printed multiple setups. What kind of trouble you can get into Monday's range? I mean, you can use you can use any time frame you want, but I have the most success with the H1. So let's see here. Like this gave you a long, and then it gave you a short, and it gave you another entry on short. So, you know, 3 opportunities there. I probably wouldn't have taken this, but this I would have taken for sure. This you could have taken a second entry if you wanted. So last thing I want to cover here is just equities. So equities, we had a couple of interesting things happen. We had this major rally, right, into basically the last area of resistance before all-time high. So this is the deepest pullback that was possible before all-time high, same as Bitcoin, right? And if you pull your fib from here down to here, it's probably right up in that super, super high fib range, just above the 7.9. And then if you put this on, it's also retesting the yearly open. So to me, there's a good chance that we're going to get some kind of pullback here. We literally have had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're in the process of printing our 7th straight green 3-day candle. That means 21 days have passed, and it's basically been up only. Okay? So I think there's a pretty good chance that we get some kind of pullback here, potentially next week. We also have a bunch of gaps that are unfilled here. I don't know if we come all the way down to this one, right? But this one's unfilled, and we've had a pretty crazy rally with no real big pullbacks. So maybe we get some sort of pullback next week on equities. Doesn't have to be huge, doesn't have to fully retrace the move. But even if it's just kind of a small pullback, couple of percents, couple hundred points, there's a good chance that that lines up very well with our Bitcoin prediction that it might pull back a little bit next week. We also had Trump. Basically, all of the good news that we could have wanted is now happened, okay? So Trump has paused tariffs with most countries for 90 days, right? And with China. They basically announced, hey, we're doing like the China pause for 90 days or whatever. So that's like as good of news as we could ask for on the tariff front. He's been doing everything in his power to say the market's going to go up. I put Basent on TV and the market pumps. It's a really good time to buy. You want to be long America. The market generally is going to pull back on the good news, right? It's going to bottom on the worst news. It bottomed on the fucking worst news possible, basically, right? Like we had Liberation Day, all of the tariff shit happened, and that basically was the bottom. So if we're going to get some kind of pullback, it makes sense that it happens based on some good news, and then maybe we continue higher and we just go to all-time highs. The beauty of this is if you caught any of this, right, it's the same argument as Bitcoin. I'm fine with a bit of a pullback because that means I can add to my position, because once this thing gets above all-time high, it just becomes a very easy breakout confirmation long. Longing an all-time high break is one of the easiest trades you can take. So if you go look at like Bitcoin, right? Like one of the easiest trades on Bitcoin was once it just broke this level. You didn't even have to have a specific snipe of an entry. Soon as it closed, this is the daily chart. Okay? It had multiple daily closes above all-time high, and you just long, dude. Same thing happened back here. Right? Like once we got above all-time high back here, it's just a long. Because if the market did this massive correction and then finally fought its way back to all-time high, once it breaks through, it's probably going to go way higher. And this is the same thing for equities. Like these are some of the easiest trades you can take back here, right? Took a long time. This is like 2 years, but it's correcting, sideways. Once it got through all-time high, just up. So to me, whether or not it does this and then goes up or not, right? I'm not really concerned. I'm just saying once it gets back above this level, there's a very good chance it's going higher. Same thing here, right? Once it reclaimed that COVID all-time high, like you're pretty easy to long it. You can go all the way back to the 2008 financial crash. Once it finally got back above these levels, pretty easy to just say, hey, we're going to probably go much higher. So the same thing goes for equities right now. Once we get above all-time high again, whether it's right now, right, or it's more chop here, maybe a bit of a correction, eventually, once we get back above that level, it's probably going to go a lot higher. What's the lowest time frame I'd use to confirm a structure break? It all depends on what you're trading, bro. There's going to be a structure break on the 1 minute chart. That doesn't mean that you should take a long based on the weekly. It's all relative to the time frame that you're trading. It's so funny. I'm looking at the camera, but no one can see me. It's all relative to the time frame that you're trading. It's that simple. If I'm trading the 4-hour chart, I want to see a structure break on the 4-hour chart. A structure break on the 1 minute chart does not affect the daily chart. SPX is a giant market maker sell model. Maybe. That would be bad, wouldn't it? Market maker sell model is, or are you saying buy model? Isn't this a buy model here? Isn't this buy model? What's up, Billy Mendez? What's different about now than the November 21 all-time high break? Like this? Or like way back here, you mean? To me, it's because, like, you mean this here? Well, to me, this is like the end of the fucking, like, we're already in the bull run here, the end of the bull run here. But this, so here's the logic, right? If this is your all-time high, there's two things that can happen. If we get above it, you long. And guess what? Maybe it goes up way higher. But if we get above it and then we get right back below, just get the fuck out. Because it gives you the easiest trading conditions possible. If we maintain above the level, we're probably going significantly higher. If we fail to hold above the level, it was a deviation. And now you either get out or you short. And that was the trade I think I took, and many people probably took back here, was like, okay, we made it above all-time high. But if we lose this level, that's really bad. And that's exactly what happened. And so this is the exact same concept here, right? If we trade above all-time high here, I think you get bullish. But if we do this, I think that's probably all she wrote. Get the fuck out. It's a very clear line in the sand in which you can shape your trade idea. How do you draw your ranges? I use fibs. And I just use the 0 and the 50 and the 100. And I just pull from bottom to top or top to bottom, and that's what I use. How many of the ICT exposed videos have you watched? I've watched a few of them. But, like, I don't really care, man. Like, I make money. I don't give a shit what ICT does. It's not my fucking... Like, it's like crazy. People are like, oh, you trade ICT, but like he blew up his account. It's like, I don't fucking care, dude. I care if I blow up my account. I don't care what ICT does. Can you check in it? Yeah, I don't know what this coin does. I guess we've got some demand right here. Sweeping out some lows here. It's kind of all I see there. Got this H4 order block as well. You could argue that this is your demand here. But we kind of front run that. So I don't know. I like that little fair value gap I drew. But I think that's all the setup probably is, if I had to guess, is it's some sort of retest of demand. What's your streaming schedule? Usually Monday, Wednesday, Friday. If the person is clearly a bot, just ban them. In it is the 1L1 that Kobe is in. Okay. All right, Dan, I'm never going to check DOT ever. Danu, I'm putting you in timeout, bro. Come on. Everyone waits their fucking turn. Yeah, I think the credit downgrade could add to the veracity of a potential pullback on equities. But again, we got to see what happens on futures opens, see what happens on Monday. I don't know how much weight I would put on that. I'm simply just looking at the chart, and the chart to me, I feel like probably pulls back just a tiny bit. Like this, I think there's a pretty high likelihood that we at least pull back a little. How much, I have no idea, but that's yet to be seen. Hype is breaking out. I mean, nothing's really happened in the last 4 hours. Hype is like super clean, right? Like you have these old highs. You just don't want to see it get back below here. If it gets back below here, it probably goes down. If it holds here, probably goes higher to 31. It's that same kind of all-time high trade idea here. Like you have a super clear level here. As long as it's above, you can be bullish. If it loses it, it can go down. Ondo. Yeah, I mean, this is just like, you got to be careful with some of these alts because, you know, they're putting in like some kind of ugly candles here. So I think that there's still hope for this thing to go up. If it holds that, like it should go up, invalidation is here. But if Bitcoin pulls back, you know, this thing could come down here, and then that's the setup you're taking. Similar to like here, right? Like it put in the low, pumped, and then came all the way back and retested the low. Who I got for the Stanley Cup? I hope Edmonton wins, man. I would love for McDavid to get one. Would love for Davo to get one. Phil on our breakout support staff. It's amazing. That's good to know. Did you lift it all on your vacay? I wish I could say I did, but I did not. But I am going to the gym tonight. You can hear me breathe. Okay. Is the mic too close to my fucking mouth? Is that what you're telling me? Bro says hate from Australia. Thank you, bro. Hate from Canada right back at you. So, yeah, guys, I mean, pretty straightforward here. I don't think that there's anything crazy to update until we see what Sunday brings with the stock market. I think short term, there might be some bounces here. Like we might have, you know, put in a little temp bottom here, a little temp low, and we can trade a little bit higher because we've basically been going down all week, right? So high of the week on Tuesday, maybe we now have the low of the week on Friday, and we get some sort of relief bounce, and then we kind of see. but I'm not rushing into any trades here on the weekend. Like for me, if I can get 1 or 2 trades in a week, like that's all I need, dude. Once you start scaling up your capital to a certain point, it just becomes a matter of like, how much. And if you have a, $1 million account, okay, and you're risking 2%, that 1R that you're risking is 20 grand. Right? So let's say you took that Solana short with me. It paid out 3R. That's 60K in a week on one trade. So how many of those do you need? Right? 1, 2. Maybe you don't have a $1 million in your account. Maybe you have 100K. Okay. And that 1R is now 2,000. A 3R trade is going to pay you out 6 grand. That's pretty good money for one trade for 1 week on one pair. So people are obsessed with this idea of like getting a crazy high R. How many R a month do I need? Like, dude, if you can get 4 to 6 R a month, doesn't sound like a lot, but remember, you're going to have you lost a trade, you win one, you lost one, then you win 2 in a row. Okay, so you took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 trades. It's like 1 a week. You just netted out 4R for the month. If your R is 20 grand, that's 80 racks. Is that not a good month? Pretty good month. You're making $1 million a year, basically. If your R is 2K, you just made $8,000. If you're doing this more months than you're not, you could be making 6 figures just from those few trades. So it all scales, right, with your account size. And the reason you got to think of it like this is because if you have a $1,000 account, right, you're risking $20. You might say $20 is not that much. It's 1R. Because now when your account's 10,000 and you're risking 200, you're not worried that it's 10 times what you used to be risking. It's still 1R. Now your account's 100 grand. You're risking $2,000. You're not stressed because it's just 1R. Now you've got $1 million account. Still 1R. This is how people with an 8-figure account trade. You might see someone, they got $10 million in their account. And so their 1R is 200 grand. And you might say, how the fuck can you risk 200K on one trade? It's just 1R. That's all it is. But if you think of it as 200 grand, you're going to be freaked out. You're going to be like, what the fuck? That's so much money. I just lost a fucking Lamborghini Huracan in one trade. It's 1R. It's no different than when your account was 10% of the size. It's the exact same. That's how you scale, is by thinking of it in terms of R, risk, fixed percentage, not thinking in terms of the dollar number. And you can see very quickly, even at a 10K account, starts to become good money. 100K account for sure. If you can average 4 to 6R a month and you have 100 grand in your trading account, you can double the size of your account in a year. It's pretty good fucking money. Now all of a sudden you got 200K. You're risking 4%. You're risking 4K per trade. You can see how it compounds. And so if you're able to do this for a few years, you can go from here to here a lot quicker than you think. Right? You have 10K. And you're going to get 4R a month. Let's just say on aggregate over the entire year. Some months you'll do more. Some months you'll do less. Right? So you're making $9,600 at the end of the year. Right? So 4R times 12. It's $9,600. So the next year, your account is now 19,600. You've almost doubled it. Okay, you're risking that same 2% now. Your R is now 392. Okay? Times that by 4, times that by 12. You've now made 18K this year. Okay? Now, what do you have in your account? This is very rough numbers here, right? But now you're already at a $40,000 account. Then you're at an $80,000 account. Okay? And in 4 years, you've 8x'd your money. So there's this crazy idea that you have to earn this insane amount of R every single month to grow your account. You got to take crazy risk. Whereas in 5 or 6 years, you can turn 10K into $1 million, right? Because in year 5, you're at 160. Year 6, you're at 320. Year 7, you're over $500,000. Like, it scales up fast. So the point of all of this is it's about consistency. If you can consistently make more than you lose over a long period of time, the compounding becomes very powerful, and that number gets very big very quick. So next time you say, oh man, it's just like 50K, it's not that much money. It's like, dude, a 50K account can become $1 million quicker than you think. And you just have to be able to consistently make money. And you're not going to make money every single month. You're going to have months where you don't make money. You'll have months where you make more money. But what you're looking there is 48R on the year. Can you get to that number? Can you get to that number? I think that's doable. We had 3R just on SOL this week. Can you get 4R a month? Maybe you aim for 8R. Of course, there's taxes and all that shit, guys. I'm just using very rudimentary math. But the idea here is you don't have to risk 10% of your account on each trade, because that will wreck you. That will fucking destroy you. With consistent gains over time, you can make money. You can make good ass money trading. And once you start getting into the mid to high 6 figures, your trades that you were taking before that paid 2 or 3R, it's a significant amount of money. A 2R trade on $1 million account is 40 grand. How many of those do you need a year to have a pretty nice life? 10? Can you find 10? Can you find 10 2R trades a year? You're making 400K a year. So it's just, the idea here is just to remind you guys that, like, a lot of what you see online, it's very easy to get caught up in the crazy P&Ls, the people printing on meme coins. Oh, they turned 15K into fucking, like, Pow. He turned 300K into 3 million on that one coin or whatever. But he held it down 99% for like 5 months. Most of you are not going to do that. But if you can get to a point, even with your small account, where at the end of the month, you're up 2 to 4R, aim for 4 to 6. That's my goal every month, 4 to 6. I don't hit it every month. Sometimes I exceed it. Sometimes I do under. But I remember back in the day, we used to have people and they'd post, my paid group did 55R this month on some Excel spreadsheet. And I'm like, okay, interesting. Because if you're able to get 55R in an entire month and you're consistently doing that month over month, you should send me your trading history and I will get you a job at any hedge fund in the world. Or fuck that, don't even apply for a job because you're going to be a billionaire in no time. Because they 55x their money in a month. So you just got to realize a lot of what you see online is not real, right? It's not real. Some of the richest and best traders I know, they're doing 4 to 6R on a month, but they've got big money. They're trading 10 mil. Right? So if you're getting 6% on 10 mil, that's 600 G's in a month. More R than a pirate. Exactly. Anyways, guys, I'll let you all go. I'll let you get back to the games. I'm sorry about the camera issue. I will figure that out before the stream on Monday. I hope you all have an amazing weekend. I love you all so much. As usual, if you have any questions, feel free to leave comments on Instagram, on TikTok, on if you want to get a hold of me, TikTok is the place I see you the most because I have the least amount of followers there. But you can reach out to me on any platforms if you're interested in anything that I'm working on. All the links in the description. As always, 3 streams a week for you guys for free. I hope everyone has a blessed weekend. Take care of yourselves. Make sure you go outside. Spend some time with your loved ones. Thank you, sir. Some more hate from Australia. Some more hate from Canada before you go to bed, my friend. Yeah, I'll talk to you guys in a couple of days. Stay safe. Bye-bye.